Hey guys, welcome back to a different type of video here on the channel. In today's video, we are going to be discussing LEGO Icons, set number 10338, the LEGO Transformers Bumblebee set. This is an 18+ collector's set containing 950 pieces and retailing for $90 US. You might be wondering why we are talking about this set as we usually talk about Ninjago related sets and content. Well, I am also a massive Transformers fan. And since I am a fan of Transformers and LEGO, these LEGO Transformers sets have very much piqued my interest, and I have reviewed the Optimus Prime before on the channel when that came out a couple of years ago. But now we are here talking about LEGO's second Transformers set, that of course being Bumblebee. And while Bumblebee is definitely not who I would have personally chosen to be the next LEGO Transformer, I get why Bumblebee was chosen. And this set, all things considered, I do like this one quite a bit. Does it have its problems? I mean, of course, but is it a worthy follow-up to the LEGO Optimus Prime, which so many people loved, including myself? Well, I would say so. I think this is a very successful set for a lot of reasons, despite not really being perfect, but for today's video, my goal is to simply talk about this set from the perspective of not only a LEGO fan, but also a Transformers fan. I am not by any means a professional LEGO review channel, so keep that in mind. I just like to talk about what I buy. So without further ado, let's get started. First of all, here we have the box. The front of the box looks really cool. Love these LEGO Icons 18+ box designs. And the back of the box is also really awesome. These boxes I do like to keep. These are good boxes. Okay, so starting things off, let's take a look at the car mode. Figured we could start here. Now, I really like this vehicle mode. I'm not really a car expert, but I don't think this is a Volkswagen Beetle like Bumblebee was back in the 80s, so not really sure what happened there, but I will say, despite not being super accurate to the 80s cartoon or the original 80s toy, I do really like the look of this car. I think it looks really good. The proportions are super exaggerated, like they were on that original Bumblebee cartoon model and toy from 1984, and I feel like overall, this vehicle mode, again, despite not being very accurate, it just screams Bumblebee. I think it looks very Bumblebee-esque, and again, it's just a super cute deformed car, which is basically what Bumblebee was always was in the 80s. So I am a huge fan of this car. I like the vehicle mode quite a bit. Now, there are some references, there are some Easter eggs, if you will, especially back here. Let's just zoom in on that. We have some bumper stickers there. This one says, "I heart Cybertron." That one says, "Roll out." Wonder what those could be a reference to. You also have the license plate here, Bumble 84. Take a guess, Bumblebee 1984. Kind of looks like down there in the bottom left, that kind of looks like the Ark having crashed into the mountain. Wonder if that's what that's actually supposed to be. But anyway, we do have another license plate. If you don't like this one for whatever reason, you can remove it. There we go. And replace it with the other one, which says Goldbug. If I can get it on there. There you go. Goldbug Autobot, kind of a reference to that one time in the 80s where Bumblebee got turned into an Autobot called Goldbug. Hooray for that. I prefer the not Goldbug version. I was never a fan of Goldbug as a concept, so Bumble 84. That's my preferred license plate there. We also have some awesome detail back here too. Some exhaust, taillights, the spare tire thing in the back there too. Looking really cool. Speaking of the tires, I like the tires used here. Same ones that are used on the LEGO Optimus Prime set, which we will be comparing to this one later, so stay tuned for that. I like the tires. I like the wheels. I'm not a huge fan of the choice of like a white rim there, I guess. Not sure why they did that, but it looks fine, I suppose. We have the side window right there, the windshield, the mirrors, the doors can open kind of sorta. I mean, you're not going to get much out of that because that's more so for transformation, but things you can do if you want to do it, I suppose. Like I said, you got some mirrors. Those mirrors can be adjusted to your heart's content. And speaking of the windshield, right on in there, you can see we have a little Bumblebee. How cute. how adorable. That might be a reference to the 2007 Michael Bay movie, or that could be a reference to the 2018 Bumblebee movie with Haley Steinfeld, when she finds Bumblebee and he's got a bunch of bees everywhere. All of that depends on whether or not that's supposed to be a real bee. But either way, bees are here. Yeah, this bumper sometimes gets misaligned. That's more so just for transformation, but you can move that too if you want. Love the front of the car. Again, the overly obnoxious headlights that kind of resemble a VW Beetle. I think these are the turn signals down here, possibly. I have no idea. Again, I'm not a car guy. I drive a car. Not a car expert, all right? We also do have some Autobot logos on the front of the car, as you can see on the hood, and on the top of the car. There you go. Yeah, you also do have a couple of extra yellow 2x2 plates that are included too if you want to not have Autobot symbols on the car for whatever reason. And by the way, the license plate fell off as I was doing that. That is one complaint that I will give this set. It's very finicky, especially when it comes to transformation. Things are falling off all the time and popping out of place. It's not fun. I might be doing something wrong, but I don't know. To me, it's just kind of like, it's not the best to handle, if that makes sense. But anyway, a lot of cool details here. I like a lot of the details. I'm also not really the biggest fan of the choice in window color. Probably would have preferred like a smoky black, like how we saw on the Optimus Prime, but I mean, the blue is whatever. For some comparisons though, let's get Optimus Prime out here. And here's what that comparison looks like. Here we have my slightly modified Lego Optimus Prime from a few years ago that I reviewed when it came out. Seems like every 2 years we get a new Lego Transformers set, so hope we get more in the future. But here we have Optimus Prime with the new Lego Bumblebee. Yeah, definitely not correct scale, I'd say. I feel like Bumblebee should be a little bit smaller than what he is here compared to Optimus. The robot mode scale makes a lot more sense, but these two together in vehicle mode, even though the scale is off, I don't mind how they look. I think they do look really good together. Kind of want to display them just as vehicles, you know? By the way, I feel like part of the issue with the scale might be because these two sets, again, they use the same wheel pieces, same tires, just with different hubcaps. So maybe they could have gone smaller for Bumblebee, but I don't know. Despite the scale problems, I do think these two look amazing together. Kind of reminds me of the end of the Bumblebee movie, you know, where they're rolling out on the bridge, except there Bumblebee was a Camaro, not a VW, but you know, that's besides the point. I like these two together, and we will do robot mode comparisons later on as well. And also, for a really quick vehicle comparison, here it is with the Studio Series War for Cybertron Bumblebee. Not really a fair comparison because, again, these designs are very different. I mean, this is inspired by G1 Bumblebee, but this is supposed to be like an alien version of this, so you know, I guess do with that what you will. I don't have the 86 Studio Series Bumblebee, nor do I plan on getting it, so this is the best that I can do for a Bumblebee comparison. So, moving on to transformation, which is going to be very difficult to film, but I will try my best anyway. So the first thing that you need to do is something that I am personally not a huge fan of. You need to take this entire windshield section and pop it off. Yep, we have some parts forming here, unfortunately. This whole assembly comes off, and you gotta do a bit of that. Doesn't really matter what you do with the mirrors, fold those up, but this entire section will come into play later. You can put this off to the side or do whatever. Again, this is the only part where it's like, oh, you got to take something off the vehicle and then reattach it to the robot, which is kind of disappointing, but it is what it is. Sacrifices need to be made or whatever, but we are left with this. Now, all of this does transform by itself without needing to take anything apart. Step 2 is easy enough. Come back here and open both doors. Make sure they don't break. I've had the doors break a couple times. Next up, you're going to want to take the sides of the car back here and just do a bit of pulling. That will pop out the arm section here. This is all just one big arm. Do the same thing on the other side. Then you want to take these little bits and fold them in like that. Same thing on the other side too, so you have that look going. Then take these arm panels that you pulled out earlier and rotate that around like that. Same thing on the other side. And now this is where the fun begins. You're going to take this entire section and you're going to pull it. Don't be afraid to get rough with it. I mean, maybe be a little afraid to get rough with it because it's definitely breakable because it's Lego. But the good news is with Lego, whenever you break something, you can just rebuild it. But you want to stretch them out just like that. Take this little section back here and pull that up so it looks like that, kind of, sort of. Then you're going to go from this joint and bring everything down like that. Yeah, until it can't go anymore. Then you're going to come down here to the front of the car and you are going to split it apart like that. Perfect. Pop this out. Pop that out like that. Flip out these things. Those just come out just like that. So you got that look going. Take the fronts of the car, flip those back so you can actually make the feet of Bumblebee. Come to the back, flip that down, and flip down the one on the other side too. And you're gonna fold in the doors. They fold in just like that. Then they fold again right back here. Same thing on the other side. Fold in and fold in. Push that in, and the legs and the feet are done. Hooray for legs and feet. Stand him up on the feet that you just made and fold back these things at the top while also folding down all of this, revealing his bumble noggin. Flip that out as well. And you're going to want to get that head out of there while also allowing enough clearance to get everything else pushed back behind him, just like that. Perfect. Just for reference, his back should look something like this now. Then you're gonna want to come up here and bend the elbows while also flipping these things up and turning the hands. By the way, one of the hands might have been built wrong earlier in the video. Don't go back and check. Then you're gonna open up all of his fingers. Same thing on the other side. Perfect. Then coming around to the back, you can take this assembly that you put aside earlier, and that's gonna plug in right there on that spare tire holder thing, and you can kind of plug that in any which way that you want. I kind of just put it in like that because, you know, that's good enough. And after doing some minor adjustments, here we have Bumblebee in his robot mode. And I will say the transformation wasn't very fun, and it was even less fun to film it, but here is the final product. Bumblebee looking pretty nice. Now I'm going to take you guys off the tripod so we can actually, you know, get a better look at this thing, because I really like how this thing kind of comes together. Now, it's definitely not perfect, and there are some areas that I will critique here in a moment, but as it stands, this isn't too bad for, like, you know, a Lego Bumblebee. Yeah, I think that looks a lot like Bumblebee. I love the use of the printed face, the printed little crest here on the top of the head. I love the use of those axe pieces to make Bumblebee's horns. I think that looks really good too. And again, those are prints, not stickers. Same deal with the Autobot logo on his chest, which we did look at in the car mode. This whole section here was the roof of the car. I think that looks really good too. Love how that looks. Nice bright red color for the Autobot logo. Yeah, and from the chest up there, I think that is a very, very good look for Bumblebee. Now, the arms kind of bother me. I mean, in some poses, he kind of just looks like he's constantly shrugging, you know, but there are ways to bring those arms down and reposition those arms so he looks better and he doesn't look as, you know, obnoxious. His proportions are kind of whack. Bumblebee never had these gigantic tires hanging off the side of his shoulders, but you know what? It is what it is. I think it looks pretty good overall, at least in terms of like this image right here, like this profile right there. Love that. Love how that looks. Looks really good. The arms themselves, I mean, again, you do have some of that shoulder movement that you can do there because, again, those are on ratchet joints. You can also do a bit of a shrug like that, more so just for the transformation, but some decent articulation out of the arms. The head is on a ball joint, so you can look all the way around. Good for that, I guess. He can look up, not very far, not really down that much either, but side to side, you got that. His little horns can move too, kind of, sort of. You can readjust those if you want. I just love how that face looks. He looks so funny. I love how that looks overall. He does have elbow articulation, again, more so just for transformation, but elbow articulation. He does have the wrist movement as well. And since his fingers are on individual joints, he can flip you off. Perfect. Love it. The lower half of the body, I also kind of like the look of. It's not the best in terms of articulation. I guess we can start there. There are hip joints, so you can spread the legs. I have them spread a little bit right now. You can also go backwards and I guess forwards as well. You can make him kick. So that's good. Not very far though. I mean, the skirt piece kind of gets in the way of that, but you can do a small kick if you really want to. There are no knees. Unfortunately, just like the Lego Optimus Prime, knees are non-existent, but I feel like that's just because, again, this thing kind of has an issue with stabilizing itself. Those stiff legs, lack of knees, that really helps. Also, the bottom of the feet have these stabilizers on them too with these rubber tires, so that kind of prevents them from sliding around. Speaking of the feet, there is not a whole lot of articulation there either, but I do like how they look. Very G1 Bumblebee. Love how that looks overall. The fronts of the car being used as, you know, just the foot in general, like the boot. I think that looks good. By the way, I forgot to mention, these are prints right here on this part of the leg right here. That's a print, not a sticker. There's also a print here with the Autobot logo, but you can always, you know, swap that out for one of the other tiles if you want. But anyway, going back to the foot, there's not a lot of articulation here. There's a turn for some reason. But there's not a lot of in and out, you know. There's a little bit, you can wiggle that ever so slightly, but if you spread the legs, you are very much relying on those stabilizing tires to prevent the thing from falling over. And you can push these bumpers down too a little bit if you want. Doesn't really add much aside from just looking better, I'd say. Overall, the feet aren't really all that great. I mean, their feet at the end of the day, basically Bumblebee's got the big clown shoes. Yeah, not the biggest fan of how the feet look. I will say, from the side, Bumblebee looks a little bit questionable because he has this gigantic mess of parts hanging off his back. Now, you can just choose to remove the windshield section. You can just pop that off and leave that off if you really want to, and that kind of gives him a cleaner back. He still has some protrusion back there, but it's not as obnoxious, and even so, I don't think it's like that bad looking from the back. You know, it's definitely not Bumblebee, I'd say. This isn't really how Bumblebee's back looks, or how it looked in the 80s rather, but it's, you know, it's whatever, it's good enough. I will say as well, there are some interesting parts used down here for the construction of the body. I believe some stuff in there is new, like this gigantic gray piece right here. Pretty sure that's a new piece. I know that they designed a couple of pieces specifically for this set. I think that's one of them. Now, for robot mode accessories, Bumblebee comes with a gun. You do get this gun that you build up for Bumblebee. It's kind of like a dark blue gun. Not a bad looking blaster. Optimus has a blaster in his set, so Bumblebee would have one in his. Makes sense. Now, Bumblebee can hold the gun using that open peg on the hand and this clip right here on the bottom of the gun. So you just line that up and you clip that in like so, wrap his little fingers around that, and there you go. Bumblebee has a gun. Do I think this is the best looking piece ever? I mean, not really. I think the gun, the way that Bumblebee holds it's kind of awkward, but hey, it looks like Bumblebee is shooting a gun, so good for him. Yeah, I don't think I'm going to display Bumblebee with the gun, but I think it's a good option for those that would like Bumblebee to be armed and dangerous. And, you know, the more that you mess with Bumblebee, the more that you know, pose him, and the more that you figure out, you know, what can pop off at any given moment and what is loose and what's stable, the better time you will have with him, I'd say. But he is very finicky. There are parts that will fall off. And again, the transformation, at least in my opinion, isn't really the greatest thing ever, not the best experience ever. And the Optimus Prime transformation is still more fun. I do still prefer Optimus Prime to Bumblebee in terms of which Transformers Lego set I like more. I would say Optimus Prime. But speaking of Optimus, let's get him out here so we can do some comparisons and wrap up the video from there. And here we have that comparison, Lego Bumblebee and Lego Optimus Prime together in robot mode. They look really, really good together, I gotta say. Bumblebee still might be a little bit too tall as my tripod struggles to stay standing, so bear with me here. Yeah, the scale might not be perfect, but I feel like these two still look very good together. I love this Lego Transformers series, and I hope that Lego does more. Again, every 2 years seems like we get something new, someone new. I wonder who the next one is going to be. Fingers crossed for Soundwave, maybe another Decepticon. But as of right now, here we have Bumblebee with Optimus. I think they look very, very good together in robot mode and vehicle mode, minus a couple of scale issues that are honestly pretty easy to overlook. And really quick, just because I said I would, here is that Studio Series War for Cybertron Bumblebee, just so you can kind of see how that comparison looks. And just like the Optimus Prime set, Bumblebee does include this little plaque that you build up. Unfortunately, this is just one giant sticker, but it does showcase some of Bumblebee's stats. And on the back, we have another little Lego Bumblebee. How cute. And really quick, before we wrap up, here we have the spare parts that you get in this set, including those extra tiles, the brick separator, the spent sticker sheet, and the instruction booklet. So overall, to wrap up my thoughts on Lego Icons set number 10338, the Lego Transformers Bumblebee, I think this set is pretty fun, and I would definitely recommend it to any Lego and Transformers fans out there. Now, like I've been constantly pointing out, it's not perfect, and there are things that I would change, and the transformation isn't the best thing ever, but as it is, as a set, with everything that it can do, and just how it looks, I like it quite a bit. The more that I play with it, the more that I find myself enjoying it, and I feel like Bumblebee takes a while to grow on you, but once he does, I feel like this, again, is a worthy follow-up to the Lego Optimus Prime. Now, with that being said, please, Lego, can Soundwave be the next one? Soundwave is my favorite Transformers character ever, and his 1984 G1 design would work extremely well as a Lego set. Here's hoping that Soundwave is next, but no matter who comes next, I'm sure I will buy whoever that is because I really enjoy this Lego Transformers line. Really hope we see more in the future. So with that being said, leave all of your thoughts down below in the comments if you guys have this set. What do you think of the Lego Bumblebee? Do you like it? Do you not like it? Leave all of your thoughts down below, and thank you so much for tuning in. If you guys enjoyed this one, feel free to like and subscribe, do all that fun stuff, and I will talk to you guys again very, very soon. Peace.